Hey everyone, I'm your host, Sean Radcliff, and in this episode, I'm going to talk about making a difference. Welcome to the show where we dig into the past and discover how it shapes our present. Forget dusty textbooks. We're talking real stories, real people, and real impact. Are local history organizations just relics of the past, or are they making a difference? Stick around as we uncover the unsung heroes who are preserving our stories and explore how you can get involved.
Welcome to Preservation Oaks, the podcast where we invite you to step away from the bustle of everyday life, settle in and relax, and take a moment to leave the familiar behind as we explore the hidden gems of America that preserve our cultural past. We call them our Preservation Oaks, and with each episode, we'll journey to a different corner of the country, where we'll discover the unique histories, landscapes, and communities that make up our nation. We'll visit with local museums, historical, and genealogical societies. They are the stewards of these stories. They preserve the legacy of each place like precious pieces of fabric in a quilt that binds the freedom-loving, hard-working people in this country together. So, slow down, grab a beverage, open your mind, and let us take you on a tour of the fascinating histories and heartfelt traditions that lie just beyond the horizon. This is Preservation Oaks, where every story is a stitch in the fabric of our shared culture. Now, join our host, Sean Radcliff, as he uncovers another thread in the tapestry of America's heritage and what it takes to preserve it.
As the Preservation Oaks podcast travels across the country, we're not only learning about history, we're seeing firsthand what it takes to truly make a difference in communities. And let me tell you, some of these local organizations are pulling off incredible things with limited resources. So let's talk about it. Here's a question for you. Have you ever driven past your local museum, historical, or genealogical society and thought, do they even matter? We live in a world that's always chasing what's new and next. So it's easy to overlook places dedicated to the past. But what if I told you that these organizations aren't just preserving history, they're actively shaping their communities in ways you might never expect? Even when they question their own impact, the truth is, what they do matters more than most people realize. It's easy to assume they're just caretakers of old artifacts and forgotten stories. But in reality, they're building bridges, connecting generations, sparking conversations, and making history relevant to us today. Let's look at some real-life examples. So think about like a historical society that gets local high school students involved in an oral history project, interviewing senior citizens about their experiences and, about pivotal moments in the town's past, capturing personal stories that might otherwise be lost. Then there's the local historical and genealogical society that train young volunteers to clean gravestones and uncover the personal histories of the people buried there. They uncover the details of their lives and their contributions to the area. And sometimes those kids even discover they're related to them. And those initiatives are connecting lived experiences across generations in a really powerful way. History isn't just names and dates in a textbook, right? It's real people. The stories of their lives and times and how they contributed and built what we have today. And these organizations, they can also bring to light some of those lessons from the past, that might be relevant to the challenges we're facing today. These organizations remind us that we're not just starting from scratch. We've got all this wealth of knowledge and experience to learn from, and they're finding some really creative ways to do that, even with limited resources. In this sometimes disorienting and stressful time of global pandemic and isolation, going to the past to provide some solidarity through better understanding of a shared human or community history, and using the wealth of these past events to define our future becomes ever more important. One of the things we've noticed in our discussions with these wonderful organizations is that we're really seeing a shift from like static exhibits to these, more interactive and engaging experiences. Exhibits are some of the most prominent features of these organizations. With lifelike figures, motion pictures, interactive audio, interactive displays, and actual artifacts, these organizations have taken on new roles as educators and entertainers. However, as with all technology, museum and exhibit technology is in a whirlwind age of change, and adopting this leading edge change can be cost prohibitively expensive. These vital organizations continually strive to reach out and be more relevant to growing, aging, and changing visitor populations amid a flood of more accessible popular culture and entertainment choices. While there is an expanding interest in heritage, the limitations of time and resources that they face can make for slow progress. So the more financial support they have, the better job they can do in the community. Well, and speaking of that, there are some organizations that are taking history beyond the museum walls with innovations like pop-up exhibits. One that we saw was really interesting. They, a historical society, actually created a pop-up exhibit in their town square. Okay? But they also overlaid historical images onto present-day buildings. That's pretty cool. So, visitors could literally see the past come to life, yeah? Through their smartphones, and doing this attracted a much wider audience than a traditional museum setting. Then there's the power of storytelling. Organizations are using things like podcasts and social media to really kind of get people to engage with history. We saw one organization that launched a podcast series featuring dramatic readings of letters written by soldiers during a war. That was a really cool way of, bringing that period of history to life in an immersive way. We've discovered on our Preservation Oaks journey how amazing it is when technology can kind of breathe new life into some of these historical narratives. It really is. The development of digital archives opens a growing world of possibility for collections not on display in public areas. Questions and answers that are not possible with the usual presentation and interpretation of a collection can be done on computer screens and the internet. However, this leads to a potential issue with physical visits to these institutions, and right now they're seeking a new model for this. We've also noticed that many of our Preservation Oaks guests lead organizations that are operating on a shoestring budget. So how are they even measuring their success? And that's a critical question when you want to get a new grant or you want to convey to your volunteers and sponsors the kinds of positive impacts you're having in the community. Yeah, most of these smaller societies, they often just can't afford expensive software or consultants to track data. The good news is that even without sophisticated data analysis tools, there are some really creative ways to measure impact and overcome the cost factor. I'm especially curious about an idea I saw to implement a physical like, dislike, and neutral button on the exhibits in the museum. That way, visitors can just click the appropriate button to indicate the exhibit's impact on them. Each button is connected to a simple digital counter, and each week, the totals on these counters can be recorded by volunteers, and these stats can then be used on an exhibit-by-exhibit basis to help understand the impact. It's a simple, low-cost way to gauge visitor interest, and it's very clever, I think. And they can ask a single volunteer to be responsible for metrics and measuring impact, visitor numbers of volunteers, event attendance, donation, gift shop purchases, front desk sign-ins, and so on. That's an excellent idea for the organization and can provide leadership with a monthly statistical assessment report. Some organizations are using free online surveys to get feedback after events or workshops. They're tracking website traffic to see which online exhibits are getting the most attention. And they're monitoring social media engagement, likes, shares, comments, right? things like that to just kind of understand what's resonating. So it's about finding these data points that really tell a story without needing a ton of resources to track. And it's really demonstrating that you don't need a massive budget to start understanding what's working and what isn't, right? And then they can use the information to, make their programs better and reach more people. And you know what? We're actually seeing some truly inspiring examples of how these organizations are making a real difference. And now I'll tell you about a couple of success stories, all right? The rest you can hear during each episode of the Preservation Oaks podcast. So imagine a small historical society. They're really struggling to stay afloat, okay? They've got a fantastic collection, but they just weren't attracting visitors, right? But then they have this idea to launch a community-wide oral history project. Oh, wow. It's focused on a recent event that they had really deeply impacting the town. And they gathered all these stories, photos, videos. They created a digital archive. And it became this incredible source of healing and connection for the entire community. That's really a powerful example of how these societies can be so much more than just repositories of the past, yeah? They can actually play an active role in helping communities process. Then there's this really cool museum in a small town, okay? And they were struggling to stay relevant, and so they partnered with local businesses to create a historical walking tour highlighting the town's unique architectural heritage and incorporating the stories of the people who had lived and worked there. It was great. And you know what? It really worked. It brought in new visitors. Yeah, it boosted those local businesses, right? And it really sparked the sense of pride in the town's history. It's amazing how a simple walking tour can achieve so much, boosting tourism, supporting local businesses, and just rekindling that sense of community pride. And it's all because of, the ingenuity and dedication of these organizations that are just constantly finding new ways to weave history into the fabric of our lives and remind us of its relevance and power. Yeah, they're doing some really important work, and they're doing all of this on shoestring budgets. But here's the challenge. When funding is tight, how do they prove that they're making an impact? They don't need million-dollar grants to see what's working. They just need creativity and dedication, and that's exactly what they have. So for our listeners out there who might be thinking, okay, this is all fascinating, but how does it impact me? I would say the next time you go past an event, or you see a historical or genealogical society having an event, or you see a local museum, don't just glance and keep going. Yeah? Take a second to step inside, right? You might really be surprised at what you discover. It's about looking beyond the surface and recognizing these hidden gems that these organizations are offering. They offer a really unique perspective. It's a chance for us to connect with our shared heritage and a chance for us to engage with history in a way that's meaningful and relevant to our lives. I'm starting to see these groups in a whole new light. It's like they hold a piece of the puzzle that helps us understand not only who we are as individuals, but also who we are as a community. And if we lose those pieces, we risk losing a part of ourselves, yeah? We lose the stories that shaped us, the lessons we've learned from those who came before us, and the inspiration to build a better future. It's like they're kind of like the unsung heroes of our communities, like that, quietly working to preserve something precious that benefits all of us. And just like any hero, they need our support. That's true. Whether it's, volunteering our time, right, donating to their cause, or even just spreading the word about the amazing work they're doing. We can all play a part in helping these organizations thrive, yeah? And in doing so, we're not just supporting history. We're supporting the very fabric of our communities. And now let's take a short break to spotlight some of the incredible institutions that have joined us as guests on the program.
What if you could help preserve the rich stories and traditions of Brighton, Michigan for future generations? What if your generosity could bring history to life and inspire countless visitors to explore the roots of this vibrant community? At the Brighton Area Historical Society, every donation is more than a financial gift. It's an investment in preserving Brighton's legacy. The Historical Society works tirelessly to safeguard local history through restoration, education, and exhibits. From the carefully curated displays to restoration of the Old Village Cemetery, or preserving the historic Lion One-Room Schoolhouse, this organization ensures Brighton's past remains alive and accessible. But none of this is possible without support from people like you. Your donations, big or small, help to protect irreplaceable artifacts, maintain the Old Village Cemetery, and support educational programs that engage children, families, and history enthusiasts. Imagine a school field trip where young minds light up with curiosity, or a local exhibit that brings neighbors together to share their stories. With your support, these moments are possible. Donating is simple. Visit the website at brightonareahistorical.com and click on support to make a secure online contribution. Prefer a personal touch? Mail your donation to P.O. Box 481, Brighton, Michigan, for 8116 or call 810-250-7276 to learn more about how your support can make a difference. Do you have a passion for local history? Consider becoming a sustaining donor or making a legacy gift to ensure Brighton's stories continue to inspire for generations to come. Every dollar you give supports meaningful work, restoring the past, educating the present, and enriching the future.
With your help, the Brighton Area Historical Society can continue to serve as the heartbeat of Brighton's heritage. Follow us on Facebook at Brighton Area Historical Society to see how your contributions are making an impact. Or better yet, stop by any of our 3 locations to see your donations in action. Join the mission. Become a part of Brighton's history. Donate today and help the Brighton Area Historical Society preserve what matters most, our shared history and memories.
The Brighton Area Historical Society, preserving the past, educating the present, and inspiring the future, thanks to the generosity of supporters like you.
Are you a history fan looking for a community to share your passion with? Do you want to learn more about the rich heritage of Tompkins Township? Look no further than the Tompkins Center Historical Society. Located at 10138 Tompkins Road in Rives Junction, Michigan, the Tompkins Center Historical Society is a nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving and promoting the history of the community. From its humble beginnings as a local historical group to its current status as a thriving organization, the Tompkins Center Historical Society is the perfect place to get involved and make a difference. As a member of the Tompkins Center Historical Society, you'll have access to a wide range of events, programs, and activities that will keep you engaged and entertained all year round. Whether you're interested in local history, the museum, or just want to meet new people who share your interests, the Tompkins Center Historical Society has something for everyone. But that's not all. As a member, you'll also have the opportunity to participate in projects and initiatives that will help preserve the community's history for future generations. From documenting local history to working on special projects, there's plenty of ways to get involved and make a real difference. So why not join the Tompkins Center Historical Society today? With membership rates at just $5 per year and $50 for a lifetime membership, it's easier than ever to get involved and start enjoying all that the Tompkins Center Historical Society has to offer.
To learn more about the Tompkins Center Historical Society, visit our website at www.tompkinscenterhistorical.org or send an email to tompkinshistorical@gmail.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook at Tompkins Historical or call us at 517-569-2100 to learn more. Don't miss out on the opportunity to be a part of something special. Join the Tompkins Center Historical Society today and start exploring the rich history of Tompkins Center, Tompkins Township, and Jackson County. The Tompkins Center Historical Society, preserving the past, shaping the future.
And now, back to Preservation Oaks.
Welcome back to Preservation Oaks. I'm your host, Sean Radcliff, and we're talking about how museums, historical, and genealogical societies make a difference in our communities. Let's continue. While doing this podcast across the nation, we and our listeners have really had our eyes opened, and we've gained a whole new appreciation for the vital role these organizations play. You know, like, they're not just caretakers of the past, right? They're actually active participants in shaping the present and the future. It's a reminder that history just isn't something we read about in textbooks. It's all around us, you know, waiting to be discovered and brought to life, right? And who knows, maybe some of our listeners are now feeling inspired to get involved themselves. I hope so. There's so many ways to contribute, from volunteering at a museum to sharing family stories, or even just visiting a historical site with fresh eyes. Well, now I have a question, okay? I have a question for our listeners. If you could bring one piece of your local history to life, what would it be? This question really challenges us to think about, you know, what are the stories that resonate with us personally, yeah? What are the events, the people that shaped our communities? And what are some of the hidden gems that are out there waiting to be unearthed, you know? Maybe it's an old building with a fascinating past, or a local legend that's been passed down through the generations. You know, it makes you realize that history isn't just dates and facts. It's about these human experiences that really connect us all. And you know what? Those connections, they're so important right now. In a world that often feels divided, I think history has the power to bring us together, you know, to remind us of our shared humanity and to inspire us to build a future where everyone feels a sense of belonging. It's that sense of shared humanity. When history is presented in a neutral and balanced way, it can be incredibly engaging and thought-provoking. People can learn about different cultures, events, and figures without being told what to think or how to feel. This approach allows individuals to form their own opinions and connections with the past. However, when history is used as a recruiting platform for activists, it can become polarizing and off-putting. People may feel that they're being lectured or guilt-tripped into adopting a particular viewpoint, rather than being encouraged to explore and learn from the past in a genuine way. It's worth noting that there are many historians and educators who prioritize presenting history in a balanced and nuanced way. These individuals recognize that history is complex and multifaceted, and that it's possible to learn from the past without being forced into a particular ideological camp. That really kind of strikes a chord with me in a world that often feels so fractured, right? Museums, historical, genealogical societies, and their abundance of resources and materials are relevant and important to us in the 21st century. These organizations offer the public a wealth of sources such as rare books, artifacts, stories, manuscripts, and ephemera. They capture a timestamp of the historical records, family stories, artifacts, and the DNA evidence that emote magic and history. These organizations remind us of our common ground, yeah? I think they provide a space for dialogue, you know, a space for us to explore different perspectives and to celebrate the diversity of, you know, the human experience. I think those are really essential ingredients for building those stronger, more inclusive communities. So it's not just about preserving the past, right? It's about using it to inform and inspire a better future. And that's something we can all get behind. Now, for parents out there cautious about the history that's being spoon-fed to their children, when exploring history, it's essential to get the facts straight. But how can you tell if a museum exhibit, historian, or educator is presenting history in a fair and balanced way? Here are 10 ways to spot a balanced approach by a society, exhibit, museum, historian, or educator. Number 1, there's no emotional manipulation. A neutral presentation of history doesn't try to tug at your heartstrings or shock you with sensationalism. Look for verified and validated facts, not feelings. Number 2, there's multiple sides of the story. History is multifaceted in all cases. A balanced approach to history shows you different perspectives on an event or issue. Check if they're giving you the full picture, not just one side. Number 3 is neutral language. Be wary of loaded language that's trying to sway your opinion. Neutral language sticks to the facts without using emotional words or biased phrases. Number 4, context is key. History should be presented in its original context, not judged by today's standards. Make sure they're giving you the whole story, including social, cultural, and political factors. Number 5, don't project modern values. Avoid organizations who try to impose modern values on historical events or figures. That's like judging your grandparents by today's social media standards. Number 6, make sure that they have transparent sources. A reliable source will show you where they got their information and acknowledge potential biases. Look for clear citations and evidence-based claims. Number 7, don't cherry-pick facts. A balanced presentation of history doesn't selectively choose facts that fit their narrative while ignoring contradictory evidence. Be cautious of those who only show you one side of the story. Number 8, respect complexity. History is messy and complex, and a neutral presentation acknowledges that complexity rather than oversimplifying events or issues. Number 9, there's no hidden agenda. A neutral museum, exhibit, historian, or educator shouldn't be pushing a specific ideology or cause. Be wary of those who seem to have an ulterior motive. And number 10, be open to criticism and debate. A society, exhibit, museum, historian, or educator who presents history in a neutral and balanced way should be open to criticism, debate, and revision based on new evidence or alternative perspectives. By using these criteria, you can evaluate whether a particular society, exhibit, museum, historian, or educator is presenting history in a way that respects the past and is open to different perspectives. Remember, critical thinking is key when exploring history. I really encourage you to explore some of the really incredible local museums, historical, and genealogical organizations out there just waiting to be discovered. Yeah? You might be surprised at the fascinating work that's being done right in your own backyard. And who knows, you might even find yourself drawn to participate. You know, there's so many ways to get involved, from volunteering your time to sharing your own family stories. You know, it could be the start of a whole new passion project. So just remember, local history isn't just about dusty artifacts or forgotten names, right? You know, it's a breathing part of who we are. And it really does have the power to shape the future in ways that we might never imagine. To the museums, historical, and genealogical societies out there listening to this podcast, I need you to know that you all are the keepers of stories that would otherwise be forgotten. The founders, farmers, tradespeople, and dreamers who built your community. They left behind traces of who they were, and you're ensuring those traces remain for future generations. Without your work, the fabric of local identity would fray. Think about this. Every artifact you've preserved, every exhibit you've built, and every story you've shared creates a ripple effect. Maybe it's a child on a school field trip who sees a quilt made by someone in their town and realizes history isn't just dates and battles, it's human. Maybe it's a researcher who uncovers a connection to their ancestors because you safeguarded the right records. Or maybe it's a family visiting your museum who finds in a faded photograph a link to their own heritage. These aren't small contributions. They're moments that enrich lives, connect generations, and create a sense of belonging. You might not always hear the thank yous or see the outcomes, but trust me, your efforts resonate far beyond your walls. I also want to remind you of the bravery it takes to do what you do. Preserving history isn't just about keeping the past alive. It's about protecting its lessons for the future. In a world that often looks forward and forgets to look back, you stand as a reminder that we must learn from where we've been to know where we're going. Your work inspires pride in communities and provides roots for those seeking to understand their place in the world. In small ways, every day, you're lighting the path for others to follow. So whenever you feel the weight of limited resources or question whether it's worth it, remember this. You are not just preserving history. You are building bridges to understanding, connection, and resilience. The difference you make may not always be visible today, but it's enduring. And because of you, the past will continue to guide the future. I'll leave you with this thought. History isn't static. It's alive in every person, every place, and every memory. By reaching out, you're not just preserving the past, you're shaping the future. You're showing your community that their stories matter and that hope and pride can grow from understanding where we've been. Together, we're not just keeping history alive. We're making it a living, breathing part of today. Thank you so much for everything you do. Your work inspires hope, connection, and belonging, and the world is better because of it. In my view, you are unsung heroes, and the legacy you create is a gift to us all. We did reach out to the American Association of State and Local History to collaborate on this episode, but they declined to participate. If today's episode resonated with you, please do let us know. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it. It really helps. And if you're interested in being a guest or have questions, email us at preservationoaks@gmail.com. Now, on the next episode of Preservation Oaks, we'll be chatting with the director of the Crossroads Museum and Historic Corinth Depot, located in Corinth, Mississippi, and founded in the 1970s. The town of Corinth was founded in 1854. It was once billed as the Crossroads of the South because of the importance the city's railroads played during the Civil War. Those two rail lines, which crossed over each other at city center, made Corinth one of the most strategic transportation hubs fought over by both the Union and Confederate armies during our Civil War. Today, the Crossroads Museum and Historic Corinth Depot sits only a few feet from railroad tracks that remain busy with frequent traffic from freight trains. The museum is a train enthusiast dream come true. A new construction on the grounds will also allow visitors rare conductor-level views of passing trains from a second-level viewing platform above a historic fire truck display. The museum is home to thousands of artifacts detailing the city's rich history in both cultural and industrial pursuits. The museum is also home to the resourceful Margaret Green Rogers Library, as well as a gift shop where visitors can find the perfect souvenir. Adjacent to the depot, visitors can climb aboard a vintage train caboose and snap the perfect selfie in front of the bright red machine. Not only is the museum and depot a great place to visit, community benefits are also plentiful. From the availability of rental space inside the depot and on depot grounds to the many events that highlight the area's history and culture, the museum helps preserve the past and shape the future. That should be a good episode. Now, let's take another short break to shine a spotlight on some of the outstanding institutions that have shared their stories with us on the program.
Hey there, history lovers and community champions! Are you passionate about preserving the rich history of Zeeland, Michigan? The Zeeland Historical Society invites you to become part of something truly special. With the membership, you'll not only support the vital work of preserving the past, but you'll also enjoy exclusive perks. Members receive a complimentary subscription to the Timeline quarterly newsletter, access to members-only events, discounts on ticketed programs like the Echoes Evening Lecture Series, and free access to the History Hounds Lecture Series from the Historical Society of Michigan. Whether you're a lifelong resident or new to the area, the Zeeland Historical Society connects you to the fascinating stories of the community's past. Explore the beautifully restored Decker Heist Museum, located right on Main Avenue in the heart of Zeeland, or visit the historic New Groningen Schoolhouse to experience history firsthand.
Your support ensures that Zeeland's unique heritage is preserved for generations to come. The Zeeland Historical Society collects, safeguards, and shares priceless artifacts, photos, and stories that define who we are. From family-friendly programs to captivating exhibits and events, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Joining is easy. Visit the Zeeland Historical Society's website at zeelandhistory.org to sign up online or stop by any one of our 2 historic locations. You can connect with us on Facebook at Zeeland Historical Society or call 616-772-4079 for more details. So what are you waiting for? Join the Zeeland Historical Society today and keep the spirit of Zeeland alive. Together, we can bridge the past and the future. Don't just witness history, be a part of it.
Zeeland Historical Society, where Zeeland's story lives.
In the heart of Port Sanilac, Michigan, there's a place where the past comes alive. A place where history isn't just something you read about, but something you can experience. The Sanilac County Historical Society, Historic Village, and Museum invites you to step back in time and discover the stories that built this beautiful community.
From early pioneers to the great maritime heritage of Lake Huron, this museum showcases the rich history of Sanilac County and the people who shaped it. But this important work doesn't happen without the support of generous individuals like you. The Sanilac County Historical Society relies on donations and sponsorships to preserve the past and keep these stories alive for future generations. Your support helps maintain the museum's incredible collection of artifacts, restore and maintain 18 historical buildings on a 10-acre property, and provide engaging educational programs and entertainment for families, students, and history lovers alike.
Whether you've spent years enjoying the museum or you're visiting for the first time, your contribution can make a real difference. Your donation will help preserve historical treasures, fund restoration projects, and ensure that future generations can experience the history that makes Sanilac County so special. Every dollar counts, and your generosity can help ensure the stories of the community continue to be shared for decades to come.
If you believe in the importance of preserving local history and heritage, please consider making a donation to the Sanilac County Historical Society, Historic Village and Museum. Visit us online at sanilaccountymuseum.org to learn more about how you can contribute, or simply reach out to us by phone at 810-622-9946. You can also send us an email at sanilacmuseum@gmail.com to find out more ways to support our mission. Located at 228 South Ridge Street in Port Sanilac, we're a welcoming place where history lives, and with your help, it will continue to thrive.
So, what's your connection to history? Join them today in supporting the past and be part of something truly special. Your donations make a world of difference.
The Sanilac County Historical Society, Historic Village and Museum, preserving the past and inspiring the future.
Visit sanilaccountymuseum.org for more information. Thank you.
Welcome back to Preservation Oaks. I'm your host, Sean Radcliff. Okay, that's a wrap for this episode. Music used today is from Cymbalbird, RKBC, and Scott Holmes, and Track Tribe. Microstream Radio is a registered trademark. You can visit us at www.microstreamradio.com. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted by Microstream Radio. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere without the written permission of Microstream Radio. Hopefully you found today's episode useful, informative, and thought-provoking. If so, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you to everybody for listening. Stay curious and keep exploring the incredible stories that shape our world. This is Sean Radcliff. I'll see you all next time on Preservation Oaks, and until then, keep on giving and keep on living the good life.